Right, we've got one of those prove that questions, and these often strike fear into the hearts of GCSE students, but let's not let it worry us. What are we asked to prove? We're asked to prove that the square of an odd number is always one more than a multiple of 4. Okay, well, let's start with the first bit and not worry too much about the second bit. Let's start with the square of an odd number and work towards the rest of it and hope we get there. Right, so how do we create an odd number? Well, if n is an integer, how do I make sure I get an even integer? Well, I double it, don't I? So 2n is an even integer. Why am I using the word integer? Well, it just means whole number, doesn't it? All right, in this case, let's just call it a number. Okay, so 2n is an even number. And how do I make an odd number from an even number? Well, 2n either plus 1 or minus 1, because the number before and the number after an even number is an odd number. And that's a really good way of creating an odd number. Think of a number, double it, and add 1. In this case, our number is the general number n, so our odd number is 2n plus 1. Right, now, the square of an odd number is therefore 2n plus 1 squared. And I want to multiply that out, do something with it, and make it so that it looks like one more than a multiple of 4. And let's just follow our nose at this point. Let's just do what we can. So, 2n plus 1 squared is 2n plus 1 times 2n plus 1. And I'm going to multiply that out. Lots of ways of multiplying out two brackets. My favourite way is FOIL. If you've not come across FOIL before, I'd be very surprised. But it stands for first, outer, inner, last. And I'll show you how that works now. So what we do is we'd look at the first term in each bracket, 2n and 2n, and we multiply those together to get 4n squared. And then we look at the outer pair of terms, that's the 2n and the 1, and we multiply those together. 2n times 1 is 2n. And then we get the inner pair, and that's 1 times 2n, and 1 times 2n is also 2n. And then finally we get the last term in each bracket, that's 1 times 1, which is 1. And I can simplify that. 4n squared, the 2n and the 2n add together to make 4n, so that's plus 4n, and plus 1. And now we look at the question again. What are we trying to do? We're trying to get one more than a multiple of 4. We'll have a look very carefully. There's one more than at the end, plus 1, and look, this is clearly a multiple of 4 because both bits have a 4 in it. How can I make that even clearer? Let's take out the factor of 4 and say that I've got 4 times n squared plus n, which is an integer, so that's a multiple of 4, 4n squared plus n, plus 1. And if I really want to emphasize this, I can say multiple of 4, and then here's one more than. Okay, one more than. And I have emphasized that I've got the right answer. So, questions like this shouldn't worry you. You just write down what they tell you, and then do what you can, and you get the right answer in the end.